Welcome to Business Chats with Debbie, where we talk to small businesses about their stories. I'm your host, Debbie Warburton, and today I've got the lovely Rachel Thomson in from Swig Finance.
Yay! Thank you very much, Debbie, for inviting me in today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Because I think it's so important because people just assume, you know what I mean, people are struggling at the moment everywhere with the cost of living and everything else, and they just assume the only place they can get money is from banks.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not true because obviously that's exactly what you do, Swig Finance.
Exactly.
And you deal with people who basically might not be able to get money from the banks because they've got issues surrounding why they can't get money. But so tell us why you do what you do, who are Swig Finance, because obviously most people haven't heard of Swig Finance, and how you can help businesses get the funding they possibly would not get from other sources.
Okay, so Swig Finance is a Southwest CDFI, which is a Community Development Financial Institution, which is a bit of a mouthful, so that's why we say CDFI. We're a not-for-profit organisation. We're part of a network of UK-wide and, in fact, worldwide CDFIs that lend to businesses and also on a personal basis to people who can't borrow from the mainstream lenders. So it doesn't mean that there's necessarily anything wrong with the business. It might be that they've only been going for a short period of time.
Yeah, because most lenders won't lend if you haven't got credit history.
3 years accounts, or you haven't got 3 years profitable accounts, or they might be in a sector that the mainstream lenders aren't very keen on at the moment. So being in the Southwest, obviously, there's an awful lot of leisure, hospitality, tourism down here. And we are finding that some of the main lenders aren't very keen on that at the moment because of the cost of living situation that we're in and people watching their pennies.
It's just a struggling sector, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, since COVID, you can't get staff for love nor money, can you really?
No.
So there's quite a lot of them closing down.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, hospitality is struggling big time at the moment. So with some exceptions, there are some exceptions, but our doors are wide open to everybody. The only sectors we don't really lend into are nuclear weapons and arms. Yeah. So as long as you're not in gun running or nuclear, we would look at it. I can't guarantee that we'd be able to help you, but we will always look and see what we can actually do. So that's where I think we're very different. When you come and speak to us, we assign you a business manager, which is somebody like me. There's a team of about 6 of us who work in the growth finance section, and we will speak to you about your business, try and understand where you are and where you want to be, and then try and work out what we can do to help you. Yeah. We also do, which I will mention now, which a lot of people aren't aware of, there's a startup loan scheme, which is government-funded money run by British Business Bank, but Swig Finance operates the Southwest area of this, and this is for businesses that have been trading for up to 3 years. So though it's called startup, it's money that is there for businesses that have been trading for up to 3 years, up to a maximum of £25,000 per director or partner or sole trader. Yeah. So there is actually access to that, and this we find is really popular for those maybe a lot more niche, smaller end of the businesses that maybe only need £5,000 to, get a little van and some tools or whatever, be able to get going. But we also offer that as well. So
that's really good. Well, it's do you know what I mean? I come across people asking me for where can I go to? Where the bank's not lending? Well, where can I go to? So obviously, Swig is top one. I'll put you into, and at least you'll take a look at it. Do you know what I mean? If you can help, you'll have a look. If you can't, you'll basically just can't do it.
Yeah, or if we think somebody else might be able to do it, because we do a lot of lending alongside other lenders. So it might be that if somebody comes to us for something, but actually they can perhaps do some asset finance with somebody that we know, or actually, the bank might do part of it. Yeah. And we might be able to do the other part of it, which de-risks it for both of us. So we do a lot of things like that. We also work alongside grant funders as well. So if someone's applying for grant funding, the Good Growth grant funds that are around at the moment, where because
that's changing all the time. Grant funding, just like
I know, I can't keep up with it.
It's like the tax legislation is just changing all the time.
It changes constantly. Someone sends a fact sheet on it, and that within a month it's going to be out of date. But, we will look at helping with, if they've only got 55%, say, intervention rate, they can come to us and we'll look and see how we can help them with the rest of that. So our door's always open to have a chat.
Do you have set periods of payment terms, or is it individual, depend on individual cases?
It's up to a maximum of 5 years. We would look at the business's forecasts that they do, and that's where we like to have an accountant like yourself involved to sort of sense check.
And people come run, and we need cash flow forecasts and for going for we need them now because we're getting a loan. Like, we really should have these in place anyway. Do you know what I mean? As for businesses anyway, cash flow forecasting is so important, especially now. But it's the last thing on people's mind. They don't think about it until they've got no money in the bank, or they need to borrow money. So having a cash flow forecast, as you said, is really important. The businesses that come to us that have got one in place, happy days. The businesses that need to do one, we work a lot with accountants to make sure that it is accurate, and then we'll structure the term around what the business can afford. So it might be that 5 years appropriate, but they might actually be able to repay it in 2 years, and that's actually more appropriate. So we're very because
flexible.
obviously they're saving the interest on the loan, aren't they?
In which case they would save what they're paying on the loan. We are different from the banks in that way, in that we would always work with the business. So if you hit a rough patch and you're with us, come and talk to us. Don't just bury your head in the sand. Pick the phone up and talk to your business manager and tell them where you are. We love to hear good news, but we're also there for the bad times as well. Because
bad times do happen. Bad things do happen. It's just like you look at COVID. Do you know what I mean? That came completely out of the blue, didn't it? The amount of trouble that caused. So
no one could have predicted that. If we'd sat here 4 years ago, you and I having this conversation, we never ever could have predicted that was going to be the situation. So, and we're still seeing, I don't know about you, but we're still seeing impact from COVID, and we're still seeing people struggling with the aftermath of COVID and the trouble that it caused. So.
There was quite a lot of businesses who found ways to diversify away from what they would normally be doing, because what they were normally doing was just basically shut down. Those companies have done really, really well. It's the ones who shut up shop and then tried to claw the way back after COVID had finished, and their niche or whatever they were selling, and somebody else had already taken their place. And it's those businesses who shut shop, buried their head in the sand, that are the ones who basically came out of it and had to close down or are starting to struggle.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we're also seeing as well, I think, the knock-on effect of the smaller businesses that deal with the bigger businesses, where the bigger businesses are really stretching payment terms and cash flow, and working capital is a big issue at the moment, probably driven by the cost of living, the impact of cost of living. And working capital is something that we can help with. So, come and
because if you're working for you're a smaller fish in the pond, and you're waiting for a big supply chain to pay you, you've got no say in the matter whatsoever. You just basically got to shout as loud as you possibly can and hope you're on the list somewhere to get paid.
Absolutely. And if they say 90 days, they mean 90 days, and that's a big problem for a small business.
Normally, because when they're waiting for, because they've got to pay the suppliers, most probably smaller suppliers, within a 30-day term. So you've got 60 days of no cash coming in to pay. And people don't get that.
No.
People set the payment terms, and they sign these payment terms, and then they're like, well, they're not paying. Well, that's what you've signed for. You really should have got your cash flow sorted out and said whether or not you can afford that. Sometimes it's better for your business to say, even though it could be a big contract, is no, because it's going to have such a big impact on my cash flow that I'm going to have to look somewhere else. You've just got to factor it in along the line, and most businesses don't
know, because they're so happy, and you can understand that they're really happy. They've got a big contract with one of the big boys, but you've got to finance it somehow or other. So, and that's where having a good accountant on board, that's where coming and talking to someone like us can help you sort of navigate your way through those situations. So,
well, thank you very much. Where can we find you anyway? I'm just search for Swig Finance and you'll pop up.
Search for Swig Finance, swigfinance.co.uk, and we'll pop up. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. You and I are linked in together. Get me through that.
If you want Rachel, get in touch
through
with me,
Debbie,
I'll
and
put
Debbie
you in
will put
contact.
you in touch. We're all out and about at networking events. You know, we cover from Bristol right down to the Isles of Scilly, across to Dorset, Wiltshire. So we're all out and about doing various things. So you can find us there. And I think we're all nice and approachable and friendly. And I think you could come and have a chat to us.
Yeah, because you can't get a bank manager for love nor money nowadays.
No, you can't. You can't, but we are out there.
Yeah.
So, but have a look at our website. You know, there's case studies on there, and it tells you about some of the people that we've worked with and the businesses that we've helped. And you can see that we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk as well. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming out, because I know you've come quite a way to come and speak to me today. So thank you very much.
That's all right.
After your
Thank
cold
you.
water swim this morning.
Yeah, I did. I had a lovely cold water
You're
swim.
braver than I am.
And it was freezing. But thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So if you need help with your finances, or you just basically are not getting anywhere with the banks, then obviously Swig Finance is out there. You find them, obviously just Google them, and you might be lucky enough to get Rachel. So I'll see you next time. Thank you guys. Bye bye.